Hey, how y'all doing, man? Today is the 7th episode of Yeah Man, the podcast. Today, man, I'm with Ben, the awesome Newsom, and we got Pastor Adrian Sledge with us again.
Pastor.
Hey.
And today we're going to talk about the Road Warriors and, you know, their contribution to wrestling. And because this week, Road Warrior Animal passed away. He was about 60 years old, right?
60 years old.
Yeah. And so Hawk passed away, you know, years ago. 2003. And so one of the greatest tag teams ever is, you know, not with us anymore. So we figured that we'd talk about their contributions and how they are basically one of the greatest tag teams of all time. So, what do you think is like their biggest contributions to like pro wrestling?
Me,
Go ahead. So I think the Road Warriors' biggest contribution to pro wrestling was they were, you know, some of the first wrestlers to wear paint. Their whole gimmick was awesome with shoulder pads, the face paint, the haircut. So they were really ahead of their time, and they really changed the game on how wrestlers promote themselves.
Okay. I think they physicality, man. Like it was just,
Yeah.
when you watch them, man, and they hit somebody, you like, oh, like yeah, man. And it was like, to be that big and athletic, it's freakish, man. I mean, they threw people around. I mean, no matter how big you were, they would throw you around. And and then they just looked in shape, man. Like even when they, I love their manager, man. What's his name? What's his manager's name?
Sonny or something like that.
Paul Emery. Yeah, Paul Emery, man.
Yeah.
And I saw, you know, he added something to him. You know, and when I seen the Dark Side of the Ring, man, like when he talked about him, yeah, he really just loved them as people, man. So when I seen the Dark Side of the Ring, and he was just like, hey, you know, I gotta. He picked him at the bus in this black van. So when they was going to Hawk's funeral, he was like, yeah, I gotta go in this black van that had rust in it. And he was talking about he had to paint it. They bought spray paint, and they went down there and went to the guy's funeral, man. I thought that was dope, man. And it's just, they was the true tag team. So if you want to be a tag team, you look at the Legion of Doom. So
they were pretty. I think they were pretty much the centerpiece of. You also got to remember in 1982, 83 when they started. There wasn't a lot of wrestlers with the type of bodies that they had.
right.
There wasn't a lot. They were really in shape, man. They looked like wrestlers.
And it's kind of like when I was younger when I was watching them, so I would always remember, oh, what a rush, and they come out with their, you know, motorcycles, and I thought that was pretty cool, and the face paint and the shoulder pads and all that. Now, what I didn't know is that they're actually as big as they were until I happened to look it up before the show. One of them was 6'3", 285. Nearly 300 pounds, but don't look at the bit of near 300 pounds at all.
And could move.
And couldn't move. I mean, these guys they weren't necessarily doing like, you know, little guy stuff like somersaults but they could move very fluidly for big guys, and it's like, oh my God, like these guys are real wrestlers, and they're such a team that kind of knew what each other was gonna do before they did it. So they were an actual team. They weren't just put together like these later teams were, and just kind of like, whatever. But they were actually a team. They were fluid. They knew what they were doing, and they made it known that we're going to win this whether you like it or not. So they kind of had a I don't care attitude, but it's kind of, I'm going to win and you know it because I'm kind of attended dates. You kind of attitude like they let everybody know we're Legion of Doom. We're gonna make it happen.
Right. Right.
Do you?
And I think they're the police, road warriors, they're earning. Like I said, I believe that when the road warriors were around between 1980 and maybe 95 was the height, the real of wrestling. There was so much with pure tag team wrestling. I'm not talking about two single wrestlers that just put together and say, hey, we're going to put that together. But I think that the 80s and the early 90s, the mid 90s was probably that 15-year period was ridiculous of the competition. Matter of fact, the tag team scene was actually better than the singles competition during that time frame. Because in that time frame, the two individuals that hold the thing that in singles wrestling was Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair. And they held their titles for a very long time.
Right.
So you knew those things were predictable. You knew what was going to happen. You knew Ric Flair was going to keep his title. You knew Hulk Hogan wasn't going to drop his belt. But in the tag team section, man, you never knew who was going to walk away with those belts. The competition was ridiculous.
Do y'all think if any tag team now that could beat the Legion of Doom?
I'm going to say no. Matter of fact, I don't think there's a tag team now that could probably beat the top 5 that we probably, depending on what order you want to put them in. I don't think there's any tag team right now that can actually go toe-to-toe with any of the tag teams in that era.
I don't feel there's a particular team right now that is even close to what tag team wrestling used to be back in the early day or the early 90s, or 80s and 90s. And I don't particularly watch wrestling anymore because it's become kind of watered down to me. So I want to say I stopped watching it I'm 33. I probably stopped watching it probably when I got to high school. It just became kind of it wasn't fun anymore. It was kind of like it's on. I might turn it on every once in a while. I might turn it on, and the gimmicks they have on there, it's just not fun anymore. So I'm like, I'd much rather watch a rerun of the old, back in the 90s than I would to watch today's. And then no disrespect to those wrestlers at all. It's just not what it used to be when I was younger. And that maybe this generation now, you're like, well, they'll kind of come back and talk about their generation, which is now. They'll talk about their time when they were watching wrestling. But my time watching wrestling was back in the early 90s into the 2000s, and it kind of it got watered down eventually to where I just stopped watching.
I think what makes Legion of Doom so good is that they was athletic and you believed everything about them.
Oh, yeah.
And then I think that they had a good gimmick.
Oh, very.
And so, the only people, there's only 2 groups I think that could probably beat them, but they 3 of them. I thought maybe the Shield,
Okay.
and then probably the New Day. But see, the New Day to me is they're not going to match their physicality.
Okay.
The Shield might, but then I don't think they can match their physicality. You know what I mean?
Well, I think the Shield, when I look at the Shield and I look at New Day, right?
Right.
I don't really consider them tag team because they remind me of Freebird.
Okay.
Because I don't even really it's hard to put them in tag team that operate as a free.
Right.
And now, Shield, I think where now, if you look at the body of work, I'm gonna tell you like this: there wasn't that was good for the mic. But we already know the Shield, like Roman Reigns is garbage. His fight skills are terrible. I'm like, don't Paul Heyman. And I think that total package was meant to be great and then last. And I think that's because I don't think Vince McMahon allows tag teams that longevity. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think he breaks up so, because you really think about it, WWE right now, the tag team is really all over the place. Because one Monday, these guys wrestle each other, another day, other people at the time. So I think, like I said, the tag team thing is not as good as it was. If you look, like I said, in the 80s and 90s, you can look at WWE itself. You had the Bulldogs, you had the Heart Foundation, you had the Philippines, you had the Russo brothers, the Quebecers. You had so many different tag teams in those eras that the Road Warriors, they set the tone around the world. I think the two best Road Warriors are the most identifiable tag team in all tag team history.
That's true.
Like, you can probably go anywhere and know that's the Road Warriors. I think the Steiners on a worldwide stage, because I'm looking at worldwide stage, and the only tag teams, in my opinion, that made a worldwide impact was Japan, United States, are the Road Warriors and the Steiners. That made worldwide impact everywhere they went. And so that was the one thing the Road Warriors, they just took tag team wrestling to a whole other level, man. They did some things and created some things that we'll probably never see in our lifetime again in tag team wrestling.
See, man, I like the Usos. I like the New Day. The Shield to me is not a tag team; they're more of a faction. But they didn't keep him around, and I understand why he didn't keep him around because you had to make them single wrestlers. I get that, but it seemed like with the Usos. The Usos are two good sized dudes. They can go. But it's just like they don't know what to do with them. They don't know who to put them against. What's the tag team? They was from NXT. They kind of like to me they kind of remind me of the Anderson brothers because they're real simple.
Did they call it the Revolution?
Yeah. Not the Revolution. What you call them?
Look at the old school name. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they fight old school.
I like them.
Yeah, but they're not gonna do nothing with them. You know that.
Right. Well, like I said, I think the because there's such a push with single wrestlers now. Like you look at I'm like Road Warriors competition. You had Great Russ. You talking about the Rock and Roll Express, Midnight Express. You had the if you want to consider Barry Gordy and Michael Hayes as a tag team. If you want to consider the Free Version as a tag team, if you want to consider them a tag team. I think the problem is now. Let's be honest. This will probably be a different conversation. So we probably need to have a separate conversation of what Vince McMahon does to wrestlers. Right. Because we can split out both those. The WWE does not really take care of wrestlers.
Right.
No, they didn't take care of them at all. They actually they just exploit them and throw them out with next day's trash.
Right. So that's like a whole other conversation. But I think the guys like the Uso brothers, they're good tag teams, but I think the quality of their competition. You gotta remember, if you look at the Steiners, you look at the Road Warriors, them dudes who like to talk on the microphone.
Right.
So they told the matches before the matches even were begun.
Right.
They told me because they were good on the microphone. These wrestlers are terrible. Now these wrestlers are terrible on the microphone, man. Hawk. Let's be honest, man. There wasn't too many people. Hawk had some mic skills, man. He had some serious mic skills when he got on that mic. Scott Steiner, he's very good on the mic. So I think they sold a lot of these matches, tag teams. They sold the tag team matches before the matches got in the ring. And here's the thing: when they got in the ring, the match was quality. Even when they faced each other, it was quality.
So we were talking about the revival, right?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, the revival. See, when to me, what they do in WWE now, is a tag team with a bunch of people who, how can I get this? They're a bunch of people that you really don't want to be world champions, and you throw them together. Like Kaz and what's the other guy named little guy? Kaz and Enzo.
Right.
Okay, like Kaz and Enzo, if you know they was pushing them, they had a cool little gimmick. Okay, and then you have them fight the Revival. And then, you know, you had the Usos. And I think with tag teams, if WWE gonna do it right, they need to be on one show.
But also you gotta remember this also the difference is you gotta remember the single wrestlers in the WWE take most of the airtime just with their programs.
Right.
Now, you gotta remember the single wrestlers, like for example, if you look at when you look at the even for champions, we did not see him all the time. During Hulk Hogan's first reign, you only really saw him on Saturday Night Main Event or WrestleMania pay.
Right.
So you didn't have single wrestlers taking up the entire program with their thing. And tag team wrestling, man, they actually had real lasting storylines. And I think that's where the difference is. That's why the tag team was so good back then, because the storylines were better. The storylines were totally better than that. And I think that's what made them so awesome. That they see the evolution of tag team. I think, in my opinion, the last real good tag teams that came out of WWF was the Hardy Boys and Eddie Christian, in my opinion. Those are the last real good tag teams that came out of WWF. I don't think we've seen any in WWE since then.
Not really. None I've heard of.
Yeah, and I'm talking about consistently good. And not only consistently good, but entertaining. That you wanted to watch one of their matches.
I mean, like, it goes back to how you put somebody out there. Like, I liked the Revival because they was different. They wasn't flashy. I liked the Usos because, man, when you made them a bad guy, man, they had that push. They was big. They were athletic. They was grimy. I think they twins, right?
Right.
It works.
Well, also you gotta remember this. I think what they did with the now, you gotta remember back then also. Unless there was a major, and also I think it's water. They watered it down. Because think about it. In that time, like now, if the Usos wrestle somebody, they're wrestling New Day or one of the other top wrestlers, right?
Right.
I think what made it so exciting back then because we had so many tag teams. The best guys did wrestle every tag. So now, like, if I'm this Monday Night Raw, okay, they probably gonna wrestle again next month. You know what I'm saying? Or they're gonna have a single tag each other.
Right.
The now tag team, they wrestle on big things. So Simon they whooped us, whoop them in like 30 seconds to a minute. Then the Rollers come back and whoop their crew, and then we have to wait 3 weeks for them guys to wrestle. The anticipation was always there. Right. And now we can take tag teams for granted because they wrestle all the time.
But see, people, I see where you're coming from, but see, man, it's just like, with Cavs and Enzo, it was just like, I mean, they had it. The people behind them, but it was just like it was either like Cavs even just came out being a monster. And it was like he was 7 foot tall, and it was just like, why ain't this dude just a monster, man? And then Enzo could be the mouthpiece.
Right.
But it was just like they didn't know how to do that. The Revival, man, they was like, to me, they were like the second coming of the Anderson brothers. Do it.
Yeah, the Revival was cold, man. But like I said, I think the storylines right for that, man. The writers are everything. You know what I'm saying? So, I always still believe this. I believe the writers in the NWA in the Bush League era, with the territory, the territory era, they had federal rights. I think in the WWE, WWF, WWE, they had federal rights in the 80s and 90s. Now I think you got Stephon McMahon trying to write storylines, Triple H trying to write storylines. That's a new storyline era.
Right.
Storyline. And like I said, and then the matches, tag team matches, they're so predictable because they fight each other all the time.
Right.
Whether we're going to fight one-on-one, or we're going to have a special tag team match. There's no build-up in it.
Gotcha.
Right.
There's no, and then also you got to remember, when I think once the WWE started going to these two-title formats, that you got a Monday Night Raw champion and a SmackDown champion, well, I think the home's not there because I can win the title. But where you remember in WCW, those guys fight for one belt.
Right.
There's only one title, man. You have all that. Well, for a while, NWO had a world title and a US title. But for the most part, you had one title.
Well, they still had the Intercontinental title, and then the WWE title, and there's a couple titles on there, isn't it?
Yeah, you got all these titles, man. Well, it watered down. It kind of, and then with when the Freebird move with New Day, I think they kind of watered down that move because even with the Freebirds, it was mostly always Michael Hayes and Terry Gordon wrestling.
Right.
The Fathers really didn't wrestle a lot. So there's not Uso wrestle like that. But a lot of times they won't come back to work, or they don't even have the same clothes. You know, they have no uniform.
Right.
Or they don't have like special tag team moves where they're actually working in unison. Because now some of the tag teams now they work even when they're in the ring together, they work as individuals and not actually as a tag team. Like Cesario and Shane.
Yeah.
They don't work together as a tag team. They work in two individuals that happen to be all wrestling individuals in the ring.
See, I know.
Like the Donner brothers, when
Yeah.
you're down the ring, you see some unity, some uniformity in the way they wrestle.
All right, let's go to the.
They actually work together.
Right. Let's ask the elephant in the room.
Was that?
Let's ask the elephant in the room.
Yeah. It's a different breed of tag.
What?
It's not as good as it is. It's not quality.
So Steiners or Legion of Doom or Road Warriors? Who's better?
Man, I'm like I said, just based on it is very narrow. Very narrow, maybe about a 40 millisecond. The only reason I'm going with the Road Warriors over the Steiners is based on, now here's the thing. Now, Steiner brothers are the better wrestlers.
Right.
Let me be clear with that. They are the better technical wrestlers.
Right.
And now, okay? But I will put the Road Warriors just on top, just like I put Michael Jordan over some people, just because of title. Title reigns and longevity, how long they were together. But that's really it. It's not a lot. You know what I'm saying? I can't say the Road Warriors are they way better than Steiners.
Right.
I guess. So, and it's kind of unfair. It's kind of unfair to me to kind of say, man, you know, Road Warriors are better than Steiners because it's so close. You know what I'm saying? But I would have to give the Road Warriors an edge only because of title reign. And that's it. That's nothing else. Well, other than that, that's pretty much easy to make.
Man, I had to go with Steiners, man, because like both of them was freakish for their size. But it was just Steiners with a little bit more. I mean, you got Scott Steiner doing a Frankenstein. That's scary. That's scary, man. But dude, that size and that ability to hit you with that's scary, man. And it just seemed like when they hit, it's like you fighting pit bulls with Steiners, man. They might not be the biggest dude, man, but if you get a pit bull, man, you know you gotta fight that big boy all day long. And it will do whatever it got to do it. I mean, that's real close, like you said, man. But I just had to go with Steiners, man, because them boys they were just a little bit more athletic, man. They were just a little bit better.
And me personally, I don't even think the Frankenstein, in my opinion, was Scott Steiner's best move.
Okay.
I think, for me, the two best moves for me, I think the Frankenstein for me was like number 3.
Okay.
My top 2 favorite moves by Scott Steiner was that Filter World suplex.
Okay.
And when he did that double arm cross, pick up that power slam.
Yeah.
Because Scott Steiner would beat the brakes off you, man. Bottom line, he had nasty streaks, even when they were faces before he became Big Papa Pump. He had a very nasty streak, and I think he was the bread and butter of the Steiner. Rick was good. Rick was a good wrestler, man.
Right.
But he was a good guy. He was a good guy. And
he would give you that pop though, but it just he wasn't. You could tell Scott was a better one.
Scott was.
But I think that's also where I give the role where they also because I believe Scott Steiner really was the analyst for the Steiner because Rick Steiner was taxed the rest of the floor, but he could really get on the level he could get on to Scott Steiner. Then when you look at, but I think with the Road Warriors, they were pretty much even as what they did in the ring. As far as popping them dudes, I was watching the clip the other day. They used to speak the brakes off of Dusty Rhodes.
Right.
Yeah, they used to speak the brakes on every time. I remember when they turned those things. And that was the thing I loved about the Road Warriors because before there was Stone Cold Steve Austin, before there was an Attitude Era, the Road Warriors was their people. So you didn't know, they didn't care who you were, man. But you were a good guy, bad guy, they whooped the brakes off.
True.
Yeah, that's true.
And they put you in that doomsday device up on their neck, you know it was over.
Hey, but yeah, man, that's one of the days, man. Like that's one of them saying you got a 1A, a 1-2, well, 1B. But man,
I don't think you put nobody in front of them two, regardless. Even if you switch, because Monday I may say was time is our. But I don't think you put anybody. Before them two. Period.
Well, Scott became Big Papa Pump. He went to WCW, right?
Well, he was in the WCW already.
yeah, then he went into TNA with that too, right?
Big Papa Pump.
Yeah.
I'll let you hear me.
Because it didn't work out in WWF for him. So he went to TNA. But he was Big Papa Pump. Remember, he won the world title. He won the world title in the WCW.
Okay.
Yeah, he won the TV title, and but wasn't they put the brakes on him, man? Put the seats, put it on him, man. And but I just went from that tag, and I put all the Heat up there in that top 2 and top 3.
Right.
And then you got people like the Midnight Express. A lot of people don't know, man. Midnight Express is one of the coldest tag teams ever. Got titles everywhere. Everywhere they went, Texas, Florida, everywhere. That was Steve Stan Lane and Bobby Eaton, Jim Cornette was their manager. And then the Rock and Roll Express. Man, those guys had heart. It was, man, I'm telling you, man, it was so many wrestlers in that time, man, in that time frame, in the competition, the Road Warriors and the Steiners had, the competition they had, no. The Steiners weren't beating the world, man. The Steiners were beating, I think they beat the Road Warriors a couple of times, Like, they went back and forth. The Steiners had to wrestle people like Dr. Delphine Williams and Terry Gordon.
Right.
They had to wrestle outside. They had to wrestle Harlem Heat. You gotta remember, they also had to wrestle Doom. Y'all remember Doom?
Yeah, man. That's Ron Simmons and
With Green. So we can't forget about Doom. During that time frame, man, there was a lot of good wrestlers, man. And between, I think the Steiners and the Road Warriors, they went through it, and that's why you got to put them up there based on the competition they had.
Would you put Doom in the top 5?
I wouldn't put them in the top 5. I wouldn't put them in the top 5 because they're not better than Home Heat.
Right.
I won't put them in. I probably put them in the top 20. But I wouldn't even put them. They were good. Like I said, they had the Steiners, but like I said, the competition was so good. That's why we have to put, even if you say, well, dude beat the Steiners or somebody beat the Steiners, somebody beat the Road Warriors, the bottom line is that competition. You gotta lose the competition. And the boys came out on top, man, at the end of the day. When it was all said and done, the last team that really fans all the time was the Road Warriors, the
Okay, so this is what we'll do. Right now, we're gonna do who we feel is the top 5, and so basically, we're gonna go for your top 5 first, then we'll do Ben's, and then we'll do mine, and we'll kind of see what the feeling, how we feel about each one. So we'll let you start off.
Okay, so I'm gonna say my top 5. I'm gonna go with the Road Warriors.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with the Steiner brothers.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Harlem Heat.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with the Midnight Express.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna go with the Rock and Roll Express.
Okay. Your top 3 is basically my top 3, but I'll put the Steiners above them. But the Midnight Express and the Rock and Roll Express, it was just like, I think they had epic fights between each other. And that was kind of like before my time too. But I just, when I look at them, they're more technical, but then I'm just like, they don't sell you. You know what I mean? Like, they're real technical and they look good together. But they just don't look at, you don't be like, man, that dude went through that dude's body. Harlem Heat to me was like 2 brothers. They was swolled up. You didn't get, when they hit you, but you didn't get that Steiner brother hit like, ooh, this dude gonna go to the hospital. You didn't quite get that. But they was good. They had good, they teamwork was phenomenal. And
so basically, you're a fan of power wrestling.
Man, I just like, I like it when, I like a tag. I am a fan of it. I like Harlem Heat. I like it when a tag team come in, because to me a tag team got to be better than a single wrestler. Because you got to catch my entertainment. You got to make me want to tag. You got to make me feel like this is better than watching a single match.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So it's kind of like when you do, when you do real estate, it's kind of like a duplex. It's like you got to make me see why this duplex is a better investment than you buying a house. Because you know with a duplex, you're like, I'm not gonna live there. I'm gonna rent out both sides, or I'm gonna have to put up with this other dude living right next to me. And you gotta be okay with that. So that's how tag team is. Tag team is like, you gotta sell me that it's worth watching with the tag. And them 3 did that for me. But it was just like, Harlem Heat, to me, when they put in the kicks and everything, I was like, okay. And, and then it just like, I liked Harlem Heat because they just gave black people something to look at. They gave them something to look at. They gave them something to cheer for. It was like, so, your brother, you growing up, you looking at it with your brother, and you like, we can be like Harlem Heat. I respected that.
All right, gotcha.
I'm not saying the Midnight Express are not good. I'm not saying the Rock and Roll Express are not good. But I think they build a reputation off of feuding with each other. And I feel like the matches with them were great matches. But I can't look at Rock and Roll Express or Midnight Express and be like, they can beat them other 3 teams. I can't believe it. I can't,
But they have.
Yeah. But you get what I'm saying, though.
Right,
Yeah. So, I'm not saying they're not a bad team.
So your top 3, but who you put at 4 and 5?
Man. This is my top 5, man. Steiner Brothers #1. 2 is Legion of Doom. 3 is Harlem Heat. 4 is the Hart Foundation. And I mean, we had this conversation before, but to me, the Outsiders, man, that's 2 7-footers. The Outsiders, when you see them dudes, bro, they both look cool. They look like they friends. It just looked like they vibe together. It looked like they were kicking together. They look like, it just, they cool. Kevin Nash is nasty. Scott Hall brings the ruckus. So that's me. The Hart Foundation, man, they work phenomenal.
I think the Hart Foundation is very underrated.
Right.
Because of Bret Hart's title runs, I think a lot of people forgot how good the Hart Foundation was.
Right.
I think they're very underrated.
Right.
And I think that's only because, like I said, Bret Hart had some great single title runs. He became a very great single wrestler. I think he forgot how good the Hart Foundation was.
Well, see, I think what happened, man, is when Bret Hart went off and did his, single title reign, it made the Anvil. Bret Hart was a lot better when he did single, and so it was like it kind of put the Anvil on blast. So you kind of like, when they was the Hart Foundation, it was like you didn't know which one was the better. It was like one was the technical one, and then one gave you that blast. You know what I mean? So it was like, okay, cool, man. So one kind of was technical, which was Brad, and then Anvil coming in like, man, I'm gonna give you that blast, And to me, Anvil and his daughter are so much alike, man, because they missing something. And you just don't know what it is, man. Now Anvil is better than his daughter, to me, but it's just like you want to see more, but I don't know what it is I want to see.
I think what it is that Bret Hart has more charisma.
Right. No. See, I think the Anvil had charisma. They fed off one each other, but then when
I think he had. Like I said, Bret Hart at the time, he has that. But I just think, like I said, I think when Vince McMahon started to give Bret Hart that push, I just think at the time that's where the direction that the Vince was going.
Right.
They were trying to downsize the brand because at the time they had you had 2-star Billy Graham, they had Hulk Hogan was 300 pounds, and Hulk the Warrior was just great. I think Vince wanted to kind of change that, that direction. I think Bret Hart stepped in there and did a phenomenal job.
Okay. So
I think that's started pulling because around the same time he pulled Bret Hart from the tag team scene, at the same time he pulled Shawn Michaels from the Rock. Right after that.
So what do you think about like who on my list would y'all pick? Like who would y'all take out?
Can I say that again?
Who out of my list would you take out? Of the top 5, were you?
Personally, I'll take out the Outsiders, bro. I'll take out the Outsiders. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm a fan of Nash and Hall. They're good wrestlers, but I think their sheer size alone, they're big guys and they can move around. But in the place of them, I like high flyers personally. So the Hardy Boys would be something that I would put them in my top 5. It'd be a Hardy Boys at number 5. Just for their TLC matches alone, the table ladders and chairs match. I'm talking about y'all remember the matches where they hang the belt up and you try to get to the belt? The ladder match. I mean, these guys were breaking their bodies.
Hey,
trying to get to
the ladder match when they Edge and Christian. That was like one of the greatest matches ever.
The ladder match, just the ladder matches alone.
They look like they supposed to look in the hospital when they.
They look like
they supposed to be in the hospital for at least a couple months.
And they probably did go to the hospital.
At least a couple months, man. That was
the ladder matches were very physical, and then they started adding tables and chairs into it too. So I mean, if we're talking about high fly like that, and don't get me wrong, outsiders were athletic, but we're talking about high flyers.
Yeah.
The Hardy Boys, if we go high flyers on tag teams, high flyers, they're number one. The Hardy Boys, straight up. Number two, Edge and Christian.
So who's your top five?
My top five. Y'all probably won't agree much. Like, I like Steiner Brothers and the Legion of Doom. I'm cool with that.
How do you rank them?
I'd probably put Legion of Doom above Steiner's because, Big Papa Pump, I just like that. Big Papa Pump, holla, if you hear me. But I know that's just what he was the mouth, I didn't really watch them as much, so I'm kind of biased when it comes to that, so I'm more of a Road Warriors fan. But I put, Legion of Doom on top, Steiner Brothers second. Third, I wasn't mentioning. I didn't really watch the Harlem Heat and all that. They were more WCW. I was really a WWF fan. I was very against WCW. I was like, that's kind of like how when MySpace and Facebook came out and kind of started clashing. I was like, MySpace ain't there, or Facebook ain't there. Want to be MySpace, and then here I go on the Facebook. Right. So I was like, I'm gonna stick with WWF. I don't care nobody say. So I didn't really get to watch Booker T until he came over. So I don't really know much about him, but it would be. So I said Legion of Doom, Steiner Brothers, the Bushwhackers.
That's neat.
Number 3, and then the Hart Foundation. That's what, number 4. Hart Foundation?
The Hart Foundation, you said Bushwhackers, Hart Foundation. And what would be number 5?
Number five. Edge and Christian.
Hey, man.
Huh?
Can I share something with you about the Bushwhackers, right?
Please.
The thing, you knew them as the Bushwhackers. I knew them as the Sheep Herders, right?
The Sheep Herders, okay.
I would put them also in my top 10 over a few wrestlers, because here's the thing. Listen, if you watch them as the Bushwhackers, right?
Right.
You think them as a watered down team. That was their watered down version of who they were.
Oh, okay.
They were always heels everywhere they went. They were not fakes. They were heels. And they would beat the great guys, because they started in the AWA. That's what they really were. They was around for a long time before they came to WWE. And a lot of people, just like the Hart Foundation, they're underrated. A lot of people fell asleep. They fell asleep on the Sheep Herders because they only knew them as the Bushwhackers. But I watched the Sheep Herders when they were in the AWA when they had Bobby Hayes as their manager. And Johnny Valentine as their manager. And the Sheep Herders were no joke, man. They were no joke. They was in that same school, that same age school, the Road Warriors, bro, they was all in that. They was all in that era. That's a good pick. That was a good pick.
I've met one of them before in real life at FASA. Very cool dude. Very cool. They were actually engineers. That's an interesting pick. Because when they were the Bushwhackers, it was like they would never win.
They wouldn't win, but they made it entertaining. You had one dude that was missing the front row of his teeth. I mean, he's missing the front row of his teeth, and they wear these big, like, you know, these bodybuilders wear camels and boots, and they wear these tank tops that don't fit, and it's like they're running around doing this little thing with their hands, and they're walking down it. It's like they were entertaining. It's just like, man, the Bushwhackers about to go in there and whoop somebody, and then they lose.
Yeah.
I mean, it was kind of like Sergeant Slaughter.
Yeah.
You when he went down there, you expected by his looks, you expected him to whoop somebody. The bushwhackers, you expect them to whoop somebody because they coming down here. They coming out of these boots. You got one dude missing the front of his teeth, but all the front teeth.
Yeah.
It's got his fangs. It's got his canines there, right? It's like, dang, this dude he don't give not two damns about anything. Like he just, hey man, whatever, punch me in the mouth. I don't care. Oh well.
Man, that's a unique pick.
Matter of fact, weren't they on Family Matters at one point with and Steve and Carl had to wrestle them?
It might have been.
I think wasn't that the Bushwhackers, Pastor?
Was that which one?
Was it Family Matters where Steve and Carl had to wrestle them and said, and Steve said, "Oh, my partner's a cop." He's like, "We hate cops. Our mom got arrested." And then it took him out.
You know what was that just through?
Look, I'm gonna tell you what we're gonna get pushed back, y'all.
Okay.
Tell you what we're gonna get still when people watch this, right? We all made our top five. We pretty much put Niners in the row where it's 1 and 2, right?
Right.
But let me tell you something. There are a lot. We went from pretty much 83 to present. Okay.
Okay.
To who?
The president.
Okay.
We 83 to the present.
Okay.
We're gonna get some flack because there's gonna be some old haters. Because before the Road Warriors, you had wrestlers like the Spoilers number 1 and number 2. You had Chief J. Strongbow and Richard Steamboat in the 70s. You had Dusty Rhodes and Bruiser Dick Murdoch in the 70s. Rich Flair and Greg Valentine. So,
What about Rocky and Rocky the Rock's not brother, dad, Rock
And Atlas, right?
Yeah, Atlas. But they were both bodybuilders also.
Yeah.
So you'll be surprised when people watch this and start bringing up wrestling. They were really good at. And
a lot of people like Doom too.
yeah, a lot of people like Bill. I don't think they was in the top, top 10. But I don't think it was better than outside of the Art Foundation. Because like I said, because you think about all the wrestlers we missed. We didn't talk about the British Bulldog. We didn't talk about the Killer Bees or the Fantastic. The Fabulous Ones. We didn't talk about.
The Killer Bees was a women team, wasn't it?
Who's that?
The Moolah May and some. Talking about the women, right? The two old ladies.
No, I'm just talking about regular male rappers. British Bulldog. I'm talking about the Fantastic. No, I'm talking about the Fabulous Ones. That was Steve Kerr and Steve Lane. They wrestled in top territory. So it was we just talked about a lot of wrestlers, man. A lot of tag teams, man. We didn't touch. There's a lot of we didn't touch the Russo brothers or like you said, I think we were talking about earlier when we started the Demolition and people like that.
The Andersons. No, man. I mean, it's always gonna be somebody you leave out. So, okay, let's do this. What is name 2 tag teams you need to put in the honorable mention and why?
I would put I would say Edge and Christian.
Okay.
I would say Edge and Christian. Man, I just can't see. Because I think I was trying to finish between Rock and Roll Express and Edge and Christian, right?
Okay.
And I think the only reason I chose Rock and Roll Express over Edge and Christian is because of the era and the competition, the level of competition. Who they wrestled. So they wrestled the Steiners. They wrestled the Road Warriors. So I'm looking at who they wrestled. But but based on Edge and Christian title runs, this is, man, you really can't. Then I think I would have to kind of throw the Hardy Boys in. And one of my favorite tactics, and one of my favorite, I love British Bulldogs, but there's some things, I guess, on the man, there's just so many tag teams, man, that were great, man. Wow. So that's great.
I guess as my honorable mention would be I didn't really watch Atlas and Rocky, so I can't really say that. I guess my honorable mention would be the outsiders, like Darnell was saying. As far as like big men and being able to move as well as they did, because if you ever watched the movie The Longest Yard, Nash was in that, and then you had Goldberg, you had Stone Cold, a lot of people, a lot of wrestlers that played football in their time before wrestling were in that movie. You even had what was that old boy's name? The one that he was in India, the big dude, the center. The Great Khali. Yeah, he's out. He's actually has a school now, a wrestling school. But as far as honorable mentions for me, it'd be the outsiders, as Jarnell was speaking of. But I just like kind of stir the pot a little bit, so I had to throw the Bushwhackers in there because I thought they're a pretty cool team.
That's unique, man.
But the outsiders, that would be my honorable mention because they're very big men that can move. They just weren't high flyers, and high flyers. You never really saw high flyers really fighting the big guys. Like the big guys kind of fought the big guys, and the high flyers kind of fought the high flyers. So you never really saw a high flyer team trying to fight these big old guys. It just didn't really work that well. Or like Kama, you wouldn't see Kama trying to fight one of the Hardy Boys. It just didn't really work out that well.
Man, I was kind of on the fence about a lot of people. I like Beer Money. I just like the gimmick. They were just cool. And like when you went and watched TNA, you really want to watch Beer Money. You never knew what Beer Money was gonna do. And basically, it was like the odd couple. Because you had a dude, Rude with Rich, and you got Rude, what was the other guy name? Bobby Roode, I can't think of the other guy name. It's on the tip of my tongue, man.
What's his name?
I can't think of the name. It's Bobby Roode and James Storm. Yeah, so it was just like James Storm, Tennessee, and he was like, the hood part of it. And so it was like, they called it Beer Money because Storm was about beer and Bobby Roode about that money. And it was just like, they were so different, but they came together and it was beautiful, man. And then what happened, I think Rude won the championship or something, and they fought each other for it, right?
Right.
And that match went hard because it was just like Beer Money and TNA. That was their team, bro. And Beer Money really, they wasn't the biggest guys, but they could fight. You felt like they could fight against anybody because they was an odd couple, but they was so. It's like the odd couple becoming best friends. That's dangerous because they both brought something different to the table. And they would work. I mean, everything was like they just sat and talked for hours and just, that's what we're going to do. And it was hard to beat. I like LAX, man. I met both of them in real life. I met Hernandez, cool dude, man. And because I met him in River City Wrestling. And my friend Rocky introduced me to him, and he was kind of like, the bodyguard for the people, for the wrestlers. And them dudes was down to earth. Hernandez, the big dude, Supermax is a dude, he maybe about 6 foot, 6'2", about 280, rolled up, can fly across that ring. Literally. It's a big dude. Homicide, do everything he needed to do. I just liked them. And I just said it was a good tag team, man. They brought something different. And then they went so hard as a tag team in TNA till they try to bring in another LAX. And they fought against one another. That's cool, man. That's cool. And I know most people are talking about WWE and WWF. And I know ain't nobody gonna talk about TNA, so that's why I brought it up.
TNA came. I think for me, that's when I really I was like, I'm done. Because once WWF turned to WWE, I was okay, fine, whatever. I call it WWE. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, this TNA comes in out of nowhere, and I'm like, what is this?
TNA.
But I mean, you even had Pac-Man Jones on there at one point.
But TNA was like your little brother that really tried.
And that's what I was saying. You're really trying. It's like, okay, this enough.
WWE don't try.
They don't have to try.
You know what I mean? But
they don't have to try.
I respected TNA because they had Beer Money was a good tag team. Really, no.
I think TNA. Man, I don't think they had the TV, the money back.
They didn't get the exposure. Weren't they on TNT or something like that?
No, they was on Spike, and that's when they should have kept on Spike.
Is Spike still even is it still even around?
But they on something.
Cause they used to have like Mansers. We used to go on Spike. But TNA was on Spike.
When they was on Spike, it was more. That's when to me you could do a lot on Spike. But see, what happens with them is they'll go to a lower channel. Mm. So they went from Spike to then the channel I didn't know nothing about, and then they went from that channel to the show that I never about. Because see, the thing about TNA is that WWE picks their main people. So, like WWE picked AJ Styles, they picked Samoa Joe. And, they picked Bobby Roode. And so they pick, the people that make who they are. And then they got to find somebody else. But what I like about TNA, man, is that they really try. And some of it's goofy, but I'm like, at least they tried.
They get down to it. That's why I like this.
AEW. AEW. American Elite Wrestling or something like that.
But like I said, you don't go back to what we said. Even in like TNA, the tag.
Here's a question I got for y'all. Okay, so we had WWF. Like I said, I'm not gonna lie. I was diehard WWF fan, so I was like, I'm never gonna watch anything else because I think it's just disrespectful. But then again, I should have opened my mind up just a little bit. Yeah. But then I got kind of tired of it. I was like, whatever, I'm just tired of it now. We had WCW, and then we had, how we call TNA the little brother of WWF? What would you call ECW?
Man, the ECW, which used to be called Eastern Championship Wrestling, right?
Right.
ECW was actually a territory of the NWA.
Okay.
That's basically what ECW was. It was a territory. Matter of fact, you gotta remember, WWF was a territory of the NWA. And they broke from the NWA. Same principle happened with the Eastern Championship Wrestling. They decided to break away from the WA, and that's how they ended up starting. W was a better product. I think it was a more violent product that came on ESPN, but it didn't come on until like almost midnight. And I love these before this is only when ECW was good. ECW was good, man. It was not standing.
ECW was like, if you want to watch hardcore, that's what you watch, man. Because I don't remember what channel it was on.
It was on ESPN. It came on ESPN late when it first came.
See, I don't know which. See, it didn't come on ESPN. Because I remember my senior year in high school, man, we would watch it. And it was just like, I forget what channel it was on, but I think it was on ESPN. I get at least here. And what I remember, man, is you had these people, man, and they would do whatever it took. The person I seen that I was really like, yeah, with RVD.
Okay.
I seen RVD and I was like, dude, that dude gonna make it.
Did he go to WWF?
Yeah, you had him, Taz.
I remember Taz.
You had
They came from ECW?
Huh? Yeah, Sabu.
Yeah, Pharaoh.
Yeah, the Dudley.
Yeah, Raven, Dudley.
They all came from ECW?
Yeah. I think Stone Cold and
He did like maybe 1 or 2 matches, but he really didn't come through there. He tried, but I don't think that was his thing. What's his name, Shine? Terry Funk and that's what
Mankind.
And Jack really.
Mankind for me, Mick Foley. He when he started doing, I liked why he used to show his matches in Japan when he be fighting on bombs. Did y'all ever see those?
Yeah, he blew up.
Yeah, he blow up on the bombs and all that stuff and thumbtacks and the one match I'll never forget is when he fought Undertaker in the cage match and Undertaker slammed him through the top of the cage. I don't think it's supposed to happen like that though, but it did. And he ended up landing all those tacks and everything. I thought dude was dead.
Yeah.
And then he had the I Quit match against The Rock.
Mankind make you not want to be a wrestler. Mankind, I met Mankind before, man, and I was actually scared of Mankind, bro. He ain't one of the coolest guys ever, man. But I was actually scared of Mankind. For real.
When he became Dude Love, I was like, okay, I can see this Dude Love going on there. And then Cactus Jack.
It don't matter what form he in, he crazy.
He's still,
insane.
Dude had,
insane.
I thought he was going to be one of my patients.
He probably, man, but dude is one of the coolest guys you would ever meet. But
It's a stolen baby boy.
man, but he just sold that, man. He sold everything, and he was willing to put it up. But I was gonna think about him and Terry Funk. I was gonna, but him and Terry Funk to me, you can't make a long team tag team with 2 crazy people like that, man. Because people gonna get hurt, and they gonna hurt themselves, and the people they fight against gonna hurt themselves.
Yeah.
And you gonna have 4 people in the hospital because they crazy, man. They crazy. and Terry Funk don't care, man. I mean, you don't care. I mean, Terry Funk will hit you with a fork stick in your eye, and it's just like, man, it's crazy.
One man walks around with a sock, called Mr. Socko, put it on their hand and shove it down your throat. I mean, you just don't see that.
And the other guy got a knife, got a fork and just gonna keep on hitting you with it.
Man, this dude, I remember Terry Funk used to walk around with a branding iron. And
see, that's insane.
Yes. But look, gentlemen, man, I'm gonna have to let y'all go tonight.
Okay.
It's after midnight here.
Okay.
All right.
Man, I appreciate y'all letting me jump on and have this conversation, man. This was a good breath of fresh air from all the other craziness that's going on in our country. To be able to have a conversation about this and kind of get our peace of mind off of all that foolishness, man. I really appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, appreciate you stopping by and talking with us again. Taking the time out of your schedule to jump on with us.
Man, but this is episode 7. Episode 8, what we're gonna do is talk about Gale Sayers, because he passed away this week too, and it's gonna be like a tribute and his contribution to football. So we should do.
Whatever you and just let me know, man.
Okay. We will.
All right, take it easy.
Y'all too, and we'll see y'all next time. Thank you for joining in.